Aloha, friends. Welcome to Spiraling Together, a mother-daughter healing journey.
I'm the daughter, Chloe.
And I'm the mother, Valerie.
Our mission is to create a safe, nurturing space where mothers and daughters can begin a journey of healing and empowerment together.
Through heartfelt conversations, shared experiences, and our personal insights, we aim to foster deeper connections, strengthen bonds, and inspire growth.
Before we dive into today's conversation, we want to take a moment to express our heartfelt thanks to all of you who are tuning in.
Your willingness to expand and grow with us inspires us each day, and we are honored to have you as part of our community.
If you haven't already, please check out our links below and follow us on your favorite platforms so you never miss an episode.
Let's get ready to unravel the spiral
together. All right, y'all, we are officially on episode 2 of Spiraling Together, a mother-daughter healing journey. Today, our episode title is From Pain to Power, Overcoming Family Trauma Together.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty big topic to start off for real talking about. But we're also aware that generational trauma is kind of something that not everybody knows about. But guess what? We all have it.
We do. We do all have it. If you're a human and you have a family, most likely you have experienced some type of trauma within your family system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, first things first. Do you kind of want to get into generational trauma, what it means?
Yeah.
A little bit?
Well, I think I just want to start out with the word trauma.
Okay.
Because
Right.
it sounds like really big. And,
Right.
and I know that from personal experiences, people are like, I don't have any traumas. And we think about trauma as in like a huge, like a train wreck or like a suicide in a family, losing somebody, and we think that those are the only traumas, like these capital T traumas.
Right.
But
Like life-changing.
like
kind
huge
of.
life-changing, altering, just horrific things. That's what a lot of people, and that's what I grew up thinking a trauma was.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have those lowercase t traumas that are just like the things that happen in family systems, like maybe, for instance, the silent treatment. Like someone withdrawing their love because they don't like what maybe you're doing. Like you're not doing something that I want you to do, so I'm not going to talk to you. And that withdrawal of love is a trauma.
Definitely.
Yeah. So family trauma.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you can literally go ahead. I feel like you want to say something.
Oh, I was just going to say it's something that just gets passed down.
Yes,
It's something that you have in common with your family because it's something you got from them. And it's not, you can't always blame your parents for it because guess what?
Their parents probably did it too,
Exactly.
right? And the parents before them and before them.
Yes.
So it's literally passed down, and
Right.
it's so normalized. It's everywhere. You see it all the time. Families that choose possibly not to talk about, just not have any type of conversations about what's really going on and just push it under the rug.
Yeah, I've definitely, well, I guess it's different for us now, but I can say when we were kids, maybe when things were very different. I mean, even if we're kids, like, yes, certain things don't get talked about, obviously, but you like pick up on the things that, I don't know, when you get to a certain age, it's just like it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Why we're all like this, or, what, I guess once you become aware, you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, my grandparents do that too. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just weird.
Well, and I just want to say, I mean, you're 22 and you have an awareness that I just started having in my 40s.
Yeah.
I don't know what life would have been like if I would have like woken up to all of these different things that now we are faced with every day that we can see, and we have this opportunity to heal and grow, together. And I'm really honored. Again, I know I said that in the first episode, but I'm very honored and I'm very proud of you for facing this journey. Like, it's
hard.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, I guess, well, I'm lucky enough to be here with you right now. I mean, when you started your healing journey, we we separated. I mean, because that's what you do when you turn 18, and everybody does that. But sometimes the bird is not ready to leave the nest, and that's okay. And there's a lot of things that I'm learning right now, and I'm comfortable enough now. I mean, I'm about to move again away, but I'm it's a different setup, and focusing more on figuring out who I am, and seeing the way that you've blossomed and turned into a completely different person. We're not completely different, but in the way, yes, you've transformed.
Yes.
And it's motivating. Even if I'm still not close.
No, yes,
like
you
in
are.
the sense of I still have those tendencies to be I'm just a kid. I'm just figuring it out. I don't want to do this work because this work sucks.
Yeah.
And it's a different kind of thing than, what everybody else does at my age. And I'm not saying I'm perfect either, and I'm doing everything I can, because you hold yourself back a lot too.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's you don't want to do it in a way.
Of course. Your ego doesn't want to do this work.
Yeah.
That part of you has learned how to protect you.
Right.
And so when it's so much easier to stay the way you are, because that is more comfortable, even though it is uncomfortable. It's holding you back, but it's also...
Sorry, this is making me think of a quote, and I don't even remember exactly what it is. It's an unfamiliar heaven is...
Oh, I know what you're going to say. You're talking about your nervous system, right? The nervous system chooses a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven.
Mic drop. Boom. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. So that is something that is absolutely necessary for healing generational trauma, or just trauma, is being able to regulate your nervous system.
Right.
And it's something that we as a family system work on together, before we have conversations.
Yeah.
Because when our nervous systems are unregulated and we're in a state of survival, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, we're not always going to be able to take in conversations without having reactions.
I mean, yeah, and in my opinion, it is really easy to get triggered by your family.
Oh my gosh, it's so easy. Because you have so much history together, And
then there's this, I feel this sense in, everybody has this opinion, well, they're your family.
Right. You're
going to be with them no matter what. Or, you have to trust them no matter what. This, that. And, I'm not saying our family's at that, we've messed each other up so much that I don't even... want to freaking talk to you about it. But don't even know where I'm going with that. Like,
I mean, we obviously wouldn't be here together doing
exactly.
this podcast if we had if we'd crossed the line that we weren't able to forgive, you know.
But like, that's another thing too.
Yeah.
With other people, you know, your family might not be at the point of you can talk yet.
Right.
Because there's a lot that goes into like forgiving family members if they've done anything to you that you don't like.
Yeah.
Or even if you realized it so late.
And I think that might be a whole episode in itself, the forgiveness.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and being able to get to that point to forgive. But the biggest thing that, you know, I want to portray in this is that we all have these traumas within our families in some aspect. And to, again, like we talked about earlier, seeing that this has been passed on and passed on and passed on into when we stay in a state of blame, we are really honestly limiting ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
And are limiting our own healing. And we're actually giving power away to those that have hurt us when we are trying to bring the power back to ourselves through healing.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Well, I don't know. Do we have any specific examples that we can talk about that might open up some eyes?
Like in our own family system?
Maybe.
It just depends on
willing
how
to talk about.
I feel like I don't mind starting out with something that has been pretty big for me. So my father, he did take his life and I was 4. And I remember just growing up having this belief that because he took his life, that I had a mental illness and that was just something that ran in my family. And I did struggle with depression many times. But the more healing I've done, I've realized that the traumas that went on in his family and the traumas that I experienced growing up were what caused me to suffer with my mental health. And it wasn't something that was actually like in my DNA. I've had DNA testing and everything like that.
Yeah.
So generational trauma can affect your mental health. It absolutely can. Yeah.
No doubt.
That was definitely something that I've overcome in the last 4 years on my healing journey, is knowing that I do not have a mental illness. And I know that I don't. I just know that there was so much trauma that was passed on, and trauma is literally passed on through, epigenetics and.
Yeah. And there's nothing actually wrong with you.
No, I just, my nervous system was so extremely unregulated that I lived in a state of survival for years. Yeah. And when that happens, your nervous system is connected to every system in your body. And our Western medicine is literally so focused on just the mind and the body, right? It's not like, it doesn't teach so much about that we're more than just our bodies. Exactly. And so we can't only focus on our mental health. We have to focus on our mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health to have wholeness.
And be who you really are.
And be who you really are. Or at least you're striving to get to.
And figure out who you are.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the main thing for me, or generational trauma for me, was kind of like...
It's okay. You can say whatever it is.
I don't know. I just never we might have to cut this part out.
No, it's okay.
But Well, no, it is generational trauma. Okay, hold on. It's just like my inability to use my voice, my inability to understand my emotions as well. I mean, to be honest, you already know this. I've talked to you about this before, but like when I was growing up, and I think you and Dad, y'all never fought, or like y'all never had problems in front of my brother and I. So like never understanding that emotions would happen like that. The only, I think, emotions that we like got from y'all, this sounds so bad.
No, it's okay.
I feel like was like if we did something wrong and like getting in trouble and like y'all getting upset, which I love you and I know you're doing the best that you could. But now that I look back at it, it's like we were just always left in the dark about stuff unless it was like you're in trouble. And the only emotion was like anger. And now I know that for me, if people are angry with me now, I can't handle it. Yeah. Like, I think my world is going to end. But the other thing is like I never learned how to, I guess, express other emotions, or I don't know. It was just like, well, I'm just gonna not trigger my parents so they don't get mad and everything will be fine. And now I'm like grew up with my walls up, like not letting people in, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I don't know. I think for me, the like generational trauma has just been like not being able to use my voice, not understanding who I am, not being willing to open up to new experiences because I never wanted to try new things because I never wanted to do something wrong. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm 22 and I'm finally understanding like my voice is important, and figuring out what Chloe likes is important to me. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I want to say thank you for sharing that and being vulnerable. And I also want to say I'm so sorry. I know I'm so sorry. But that's the thing is I'm always going to apologize over and over again for the things that I was not aware of. And I also know that, there was a lot going on, during that marriage to your father, which I'm no longer married.
Yeah.
To Chloe and her brother's father. And yeah, so I'm truly sorry. And I'm so proud of you. Like what you're doing right now is healing your voice, is expressing what has come up for you and the awarenesses of how you realized from your childhood the ways in which that you were limited. And yeah, it absolutely makes sense. You didn't see us arguing, and you only saw the anger. And now you get to go to your inner child, to the little Chloe, and you will tell her that now you have her back. Now you have, like, you can reach out and hold her hand and tell her how precious she is and how you're going to protect her if anyone else is angry in your life,
Harder said than done, I will say.
I know. And this is where that nervous system regulation comes into key, because when you are able to be in your body and feel safe in your body, truly be there, someone else can get angry. But if you are regulated and you're safe and you have that little Chloe with you and you are just like, I got you, like you have to be regulated in your body. Mm-hmm. And that, I think that's such a huge key. And I know that it's talked about so much about nervous system regulation, but it literally is the pinnacle of like our even being able to connect on a spiritual level. If we're unregulated, we don't have the ability to connect into anything more. Mm-hmm. We're just being led to reaction after reaction and pain after pain.
Yeah.
And so it is a process. You know, it's a process.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I also do want to say, I guess I feel like it's important to add that I feel like in our current, I guess, society, especially at my age, like doing this healing thing, I will say, I think that kids like more at my age and stuff are a little bit less prone to it, because it's like when you do say these things like, oh, talk to your inner child, or talk to your, you know, your little Chloe or whoever, your ego wants to be like, oh my God, like that's embarrassing. Or, you know, like, why would you do that? Whatever, you know. It's just like, it's just another thing to try to set you back.
So maybe you look at your inner child, it's really your subconscious programming. Mm-hmm. So something that I really think is cool is, you know, our phones.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because we all have those and they're like in our hands all the time, seriously.
Right.
And we have apps on the phones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so some of those apps, like if we think of our bodies as a program, like we are programmed, like think of yourself as a phone, right? Mm-hmm. Some of those programs that were downloaded are faulty programs.
That was a cool analogy, bro.
Yeah. So what we're trying to do during a healing journey is uninstall some of those programs that were learned and that are faulty.
That's smart.
So if you don't want to talk about, you know, like inner child, maybe just talk about like unprogramming some of those apps on the phone instead.
Yeah.
Because it's like what you talked about, you were programmed to become scared when someone is angry. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to learn a new programming by being regulated and knowing that when we install that new program, that new way of being, you can stay in your body and stay grounded when someone is angry.
Right.
And not go back to that old programming, that faulty app. Mm-hmm. So maybe we could look at it like that. And yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to look at healing.
I also will say that the inner kid thing, the inner child, it's actually really cute when you look at it. I mean, it's like almost deeply saddening that, you know, you like think of yourself as a little kid and like you have to protect them.
But you do.
I know. Because it's sad.
It is sad. It's sad. So what's coming up for you right now?
I don't know.
No, you do know. So, yeah, what's coming up?
No, it's just like, I just think the moral of the story is it's fucking hard. It's really hard to do these things and these practices. Yeah. And even like the nervous system regulation with different practices like breathing and etc. It's almost like with the breathing and stuff. And when you showed that to me, it's cool, but sometimes it doesn't always like quote unquote work, or you feel like you can't always get out of your head, or it's just a 10-minute video, but for some reason you just don't want to do it, even though you know it will help.
That's the resistance. That is where the ego wants to protect you. Remember the familiar hell. So sometimes, I mean, breath work is just one tool that we can use, but sometimes it needs to be longer. Sometimes it needs to be an hour-long practice, like a yin yoga. Sometimes it just needs to be that you do put your phone down, which is really fucking hard. I get it. It's not looking at social media and like, how many likes did I get on that? And then like worrying. It's also like when other people have reached out to you and text you, like possibly that you let them know that you need a little bit of a break, from your phone, and it's going out into nature. It's like our phones are taking us all over the place. So there's a whole lot of those programs that are installed on us to try to like make sure that we are, giving people what they need, like, and responding. And so sometimes it takes more. And it also is knowing that not every day you're going to feel good.
True. Healing does not happen a snap of a finger.
No. And I really thought that healing meant that one day I was going to get to this point and I was just going to feel good every single day and everything was going to be great. And I was just going to be like,
perfect.
Yeah, I'm just like in this 5D consciousness and all these things like working out and I'm always in love and all. Like I really honestly thought I was going to get to that point. But it doesn't have, that's not reality of the human experience. That's not reality. We're going to go through ebbs and flows, and the more that we can realize that like part of healing the generational trauma is feeling it. Oof. It really is. It's facing it. It's feeling it. It's allowing the emotions to come up, going back to that inner child, or if we want to call it those faulty apps, the programs. And I don't want to say faulty. I just want to see like the learned behaviors, the wounds that we've accrued.
Okay.
It's going back to those. And then like, you know what? Maybe for you with what you shared about how you weren't, we yelled or we were angry at you just when you did something wrong, but you didn't ever see anything else. Maybe writing a letter to me or your dad or whatever, and like expressing all of the different ways that made you feel at that age to just pull that up and out of you. It's literally like expressing that up and out of you. Like you're not going to come to me and say, Mom, like it's not going but it's going through and feeling those, like what came up for you.
Yeah. And I do think that's a good thing to help, like writing your feelings down.
Yes.
Because I've been pretty bad with coming up with words to explain how I feel a lot. Like, I guess when I'm in conversation, like it's harder for it to come up and just come out and make sense.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, I know, like growing up or like whatever, I would always write it down or like write something I need to say to somebody, because it does help like organize your thoughts. It helps you realize what you're actually feeling in a way, instead of it just being up here and then that changes or gets thrown in a different file cabinet in your head. Like it does help a lot to write stuff down. And writing letters, burning them, writing it on a plate, throwing that plate on the ground, letting it break,
and having
pick up your glass shards.
Yes. Also, I was just going to say, finding somebody that you truly can trust, that you read certain things out loud.
Oh yeah.
To express it, because it just like earlier, like when we were talking and, sometimes we have tears that come up because we're actually expressing it. Writing it down is really great. And then also reading it out loud allows the emotion to come up and through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we covered some good stuff today. I think that generational trauma, it's just like, maybe I'm hoping that you've all seen how it's possible that you could have this running in your family line, and that it can be something really big, and it can also be something that we never really thought would affect us.
And it's hard to talk about.
Yeah.
But another thing you guys can hopefully grasp from this is I just basically called her out right in front of her. But, when you're comfortable enough and like you actually want to help each other, nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
And not everybody has it all figured out. But if you're also willing and aware to accept that maybe you didn't do something as good as you thought it was, that's okay.
And I think as a mother, it's really important that when your children come to you and say, hey, this hurt me, it's like, I'm not going to deny that didn't hurt you. Even if I can say I did the best that I could with what I knew, I'm never going to say that I did the best I could and I gave you all the things that you possibly could have ever had, and I did all these things for you and blah, blah, blah. No, that's invalidating your feelings, and I'm never going to do that. And if you are a mother that wants to heal with your family, it's taking a deep breath and going, whew, okay, you know what? I fucked up. I didn't mean to, but I did.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for that. And every day I wake up, I'm going to commit to learning more and becoming more aware of the ways that I had learned behaviors, and then I did those unconsciously.
Exactly.
Because most of the time this trauma is unconscious. It is not something that you planned for the day.
Yeah,
Today
right.
I'm going to go out and hurt my children on purpose,
Woo.
That's not ever something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Slay.
I think we're...
Well, we also did want to share a few other resources about, learning about generational trauma.
Right.
Because, again, we all have it.
Yes. Yes.
But there's a few books I know that are helpful. We like reading books.
We love reading books and listening to podcasts
Yeah.
and just learning more.
Exactly.
So one of the books, It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wolin.
And then we have another one, The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk, MD. Don't know if we butchered either of those names, probably. But we'll definitely link it down below as well. Again, we do want to hear your guys' insight from what we talked about. If we said anything wrong, call us out. Or you didn't like. It's a big conversation.
What you did like.
Or what you did like. Yeah, we do like positive comments.
Yes, positive. Or if you want to learn a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you have just anything to say. But
yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, sweetheart. I just want to say thank you for being so vulnerable and honest and talking about real things.
Thanks for listening to me and not getting angry.
Of course I'm not.
I'm just kidding. I know
get
you
angry.
wouldn't. We're past that.
We're
that
past
was
that.
child times.
Yeah. That was definitely when I was not much older than you.
True.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So thanks for being with us on our very first, actually our second episode.
Our second
episode. Yeah.
First, real one.
Yeah. First where we got into things, but yes. So please subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. We'll have some links down below. And just thank you for being along on this journey with us.
And remember, don't judge her.
Just love her. Aloha.
Cool.
Okay, we're all done.